afternoon, and welcome to another exciting webinar. I am Reginald Peters, the District College Transition Facilitator for Spring Branch ISD. And today's webinar is we're going to talk about time, and we're going to talk about how students can best manage their time in order to be successful both inside the classroom and also with their post-secondary programs as well. So today's title is Time Goes By Slowly for Those Who Wait. Because that's exactly what happens when you wait for something. Picture yourself waiting for that egg to boil. And when you wait for that egg to boil, it can sometimes seem to take an eternity. But when you're not watching, when you're active, before you know it, your egg is boiling. In today's webinar, we will help students stay focused on what matters. We will lead students to stop procrastinating. We will help students set and achieve goals. And when it's mostly all said and done, let's break it down and get it done. I think we as instructors and educators can relate to these things because these are things that we have to deal with students inside of our classroom. If we can instill these things, these concepts inside our classroom for our students, then that will definitely carry on to life after high school. Did you know? Time is an equal opportunity resource. All of us, regardless of gender, race, creed, or national origin, have exactly the same number of hours in a week. No matter how famous we are, no matter how rich or poor, we get 168 hours to spend each week. No more, no less. I chose that because I think all too often, even we as educators, we go, oh, I just don't have the time to do this, or I don't have the time to do that, or there's not enough time in the day to complete this task, or to grade these papers, or to complete these lesson plans. Well, just as we feel that there's not enough time in a day, and we're adults, we're grown-ups, you think about the students and how they feel as far as time. They have 7 classes a day. Some of them, depending on what schedule you're on, they have AP classes. They have to work 40 plus hours a week. They have parents that they have to take care of. They have siblings that they have to take care of. So if you don't have the resources to understand time management, you're not going to be able to effectively manage your time. And so that is the goal and aim of what we need to achieve today. Think about this. An hour of effective, precise, hard discipline and integrated thinking can be worth a month of hard work. Think about that. An hour of effective, precise, hard discipline and integrated thinking can be worth a month of hard work. Why is that? That's the question that I propose to you. Why is that the case? Well, let's take a look at our video. As always, I'm going to include videos that are going to connect with what we're doing, with what we're learning, so that you can connect with your students. I showed that video because all the students have goals. We all have goals to reach, and we all have plans for the future. As we reach these goals and accomplish these goals, there's one way to get these goals. And that is, of course, as you saw, is to take steps. But these steps takes time. But in order to make time for it, we need to be able to understand how to manage our time. And half of us don't know how to manage our time. It's like classroom management. If you have great classroom management, then things go really well. But if not, then things don't go quite as well as we would like for them to. And it's the same thing with students. If we can help students effectively manage their times in our classroom, then we can help them manage their time for post-secondary success as well. And that is what we hope to do. Here's what I want you to think about. I want you to ponder it. Do you agree or disagree with a thought-provoking quote? Why or why not? What are the 3 goals that you have for yourself, and how will you go about reaching them? And last, do you complete your lesson plans ahead of time or wait until the last minute? These are 3 questions that I want you to think about yourself. I want you to be self-reflective as you look back and kind of examine who you are. Because a lot of who we are transcends to that of the student. Give you a few seconds to think about that. So let's look at time. As I said, time is a unique commodity. It is a unique piece of thing that's kind of unexplained in the world. Because if you look at time, time is not something that we can put in a jar and hold. It's not something that we can put in a bin and keep under our bed and pull out when we need. Okay? So you can't save it, you can't stockpile it, you can't go to the gas station and you can't buy more time. It's unique that way. And if you look at times, I'm sure if you look as a teacher, especially if you're off for the summer, you can see it as, man, the summer went by really fast, where did it go? Or sometimes, during school on a Monday, it seems to crawl, or whatever the case may be. And so I don't know of any other item out there that works quite like time does. And it's, even as it says, it's not connected with the 5 senses. You can't hear it, you can't taste it, you can't touch it, you can't smell it, any of those things. But yet it's something that is vital to each of us. We're always on someone's time schedule. We always have to follow, even if we watch a TV show and we have to DVR it, we have to set a time for it. So time is essential to us. So if it's essential to us, it's essential to the students, and we have to make the students aware of that. And how do we go about making the students aware of that? This little thing called time management. Time management will make or break you. It's almost like money management. At the end of the day, you need to know where your mighty dollar is going in order to pay your bills. Well, in time, you need to know where that mighty second is going so you can help reach your goals for success at whatever they may be. So let's look at the 3 processes that comes along with time management. Well, know what you want, know how to get it, and then go for balance. Let's look at those a bit closer. Well, by knowing what we want, that means that we need to know our goals. We need to know what we're going to do and what we're going to achieve. And for students, that means that they need to decide if they want to go to community college, if they want to go to university, if they want to go to the military, or if they want to get a job. They need to know their goals, and the goals have to be for them. It can't be for the parents. It can't be for you, the teachers. It has to be something that they want to do. Because when you do what you want to do, that's going to provide that motivation to help you achieve what you need to do. So now that you know exactly what you want, how do you go about getting what you want? How do you put actions into your goals? That's when you need to determine and develop a step-by-step plan. Okay, you need to, as you look at that last video, the steps. You need to know the steps that you're going to take and when you're going to take those steps in order to help get you there. It's like when you're taking a trip, a road trip. You don't just get, if we're going from Houston to New York, we don't just magically get from Houston to New York. We take steps and along the trip. We take a journey. There's a pathway that we must go in order to make sure that we get there. We may need to get on this interstate. We may need to get on this Farm to Market Road. We may need to take a detour here or a detour there. And and even as we take those detours, because lanes may be closed or construction may be happening, because we have a vision, we still end up on the right track. Well, if students don't have a vision of what they want, if they don't have a clear idea of where to go, then if they get sidetracked, they're not going to be successful. And this doesn't help them. It not only does it not help them, but it doesn't help us with our T24 as well. So the students know what they want. They've stated their goals. And one thing I failed to mention is that they need to put them in writing. When we put something in writing, it is so much more powerful than just thinking it. And so I always tell my students, not only do you think it, but write it. When you think and then you write it, and even when you say it, it becomes whole, it becomes real. When you put words out there to the universe captures those words of yours. And therefore, they become, you own them. You take ownership of them. So once you know what you want, you know how to get what you want, and then you're going to go for balance. Go for balance. It says we spend most of our time responding to interruptions, last-minute projects, and emergencies. Life feels like a scramble to just survive. We're so busy achieving someone else's goals that we forget about getting what we want. Sometimes it happens to us. I'll use the example of you wanting to maybe accomplish something, but yet you have this to do, you have that to do, and you have to take care of this and this person. It's the same thing as students. Well, let me ask you this. Students sometimes look at teachers as an obstacle, or classes. If they know they want to get to, if they wanted to attend the University of Houston, but they may see, let me rewind, they want to go to the University of Houston and they want to major in nursing, okay? And yet there's some classes that they may have to take in high school that they may see as being in the way, those last minute projects. Well, miss, why do I need to complete this if I'm going to major in this? You hear it all the time. Or maybe those students have emergencies at home that are out of their control that their parents require them to do. So there's all these little things that get in the way. But if they are taught this, if they know the process of this, those interruptions and those last minute procrastinations and emergencies, they can be a major comeback for just a set side interruption. This is what I want us to do. We're going to go through several exercises here, and hopefully maybe you can include these exercises with your students. I want you to guess how many hours you think you spend a week in the following categories: sleep, class, study, meals, and work. So I want you to think as if you're a student, high school student, junior, senior, it doesn't matter, just pick. And think about how many hours you spend a week in those categories. Just randomly pick. Now, you're going to record your time in 60-minute intervals from 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. for 7 days. Then you're going to record how much you actually spend sleeping, eating, studying, traveling, working, watching television, listening to music, on the internet, running errands, everything. After you've recorded the actual time, we're going to add up your hours and list them in the actual column, and we're going to reflect on the results of this exercise. So, at this point in time, make sure you have a pen, make sure you have a couple of sheets of paper, and we're going to go through this exercise. I'll give you about 10 seconds to find a pen, piece of paper, a couple of pieces of paper, so that we can continue. And if you have not found pen and piece of paper at the time I continue, you can simply hit pause. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, kind of sketch out that chart. Okay, you have category, you have estimate hours, you have actual hours. So in the first estimate hours of the category, how many hours you think you sleep, how many you go to class, how many students study, how many meals, and how many the student goes to work. Just kind of roughly do that. Now, here's the next part. This is what we have to do. And I'm going to actually go back a couple of screens so that you can see the instructions. Record your time in 60-minute intervals from 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. for 7 days. So you're going to record your time in 60-minute intervals from 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. for 7 days. So if you look at this, you're going to sketch out the sheet, but you're going to do it from Monday through Sunday, okay? And just kind of think as a student. Again, you're in the mindset of a student, and think about what a typical student, or how a typical student may spend his time during the day. So, for example, at Monday, 7 a.m., maybe he's waking up. At 8 o'clock, maybe school is starting. Maybe from 9 to 11, they're in class. There's no right or wrong answer. I just want you to start to ponder things. From 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., maybe there's tutoring, or maybe the student's at work, or maybe the student's doing homework, or whatever the case is. But just, your students, so kind of pick just kind of have fun with this, and put your feet in the shoes of one of your students. And I'm going to give you a few minutes to do this. So, at this point, please press pause until you have completed a schedule from Monday through Sunday. Okay, so now you have your Monday through Sunday times outlined. So this is what I want you to think on. I want you to go back, and I want you to complete this. I was surprised at the amount of time I spent on what? I want to spend more time on, and I want to spend less time on. So now you have these three questions. I want you to go back. I want you to add up your time, and then I want you to see where you spent the most of your time. And then, as think of a student, think about where maybe you need to spend more time and where you need to spend less time. So, for example, if you have more time on the internet than you do studying, maybe you want to spend less time on the internet, on Facebook, than you do on studying. Or maybe you realize that you were surprised to find the amount of time you spent working per week. Because I really don't think that we have a handle, or students have a handle on exactly how much they work, because things are not what they used to be. Going into the days where a student works maybe 10 to 15 hours a week outside of school, now students are working 40 to 60 hours a week. So I want you to kind of go back, analyze your hours, see where you spend the most time, kind of prioritize those hours, and then answer the three questions. At this point, in order to complete this task, you should hit pause. And then once you hit pause, I'll pick back up. Give yourself a few minutes to complete this. Hopefully now, after you have reflected upon these three things, you're able to see more than anything the life of a student, and able to put your feet in their shoes as you walk the path. So at this point, as we talk about time, as we talk about time management, I want you to look at this clip right here. As we look at goals, ponder this. This is a clip from Wicked, which is also my favorite musical. But at the same time, I want you to look, and I want you to analyze the lyrics of what this scene is saying and how it relates to that of students.
Be
And that was just a clip from my favorite musical, Wicked. And as you looked at that musical, it talked a lot about dreams and finding, and not only that, but what happens when your dreams come true, and even the process of achieving your dreams. And actually, in that clip right there, Glenda thought, well, it's kind of ironic because she really wasn't getting her dreams right there, because she thought that Fiyero, which, just to go in a little bit about Wicked, Fiyero and Glenda are love interests. She wants to marry him right there, and at that point, he kind of say yes, but it's not exactly what she wanted. Okay, so that's how that is. So let's stop and think about this, because I think these are important, and I think these are the things that we don't think about, but the students need to hear about. So, for example, why does she feel that getting your dreams is complicated? You know, all too often we all have dreams. Students have dreams. We all go through life having dreams and goals and a desire to achieve things and to do things. So why is it complicated? Sometimes it's complicated because we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to go about it. Every student has a goal of being successful. Even in your classroom, students have a goal of coming into your classroom and passing your class. I believe that there is not one student out there who comes into your class at the beginning of the year and who says, I want to fail your class. Maybe one. But no, there's no student out there who does that. Okay, so their goal or their dream, yeah, because if they're in the 10th grade and their dream is to go to university, that's part of their dream. And if they're having trouble, if they start to have trouble, let's say a student wants to major in engineering, they're a sophomore. Of course they know they're going to have a high school diploma, but they're sophomore, so they have trouble in math at this point. Okay, so they fail. They have to repeat it. Dream right there has already become complicated. You follow me on that? So that is something that we have to address. How can we rectify the situation? So yes, it may be a stumbling block, but it's not as complicated as you think it is. It says, what are the costs and what are the things that get lost? I love that. What are the costs and what are the things that get lost? Because, you know, every time we work for a dream to do something, there's a cost and there's something that get lost. I don't think we ever look at anything like that, but those two things go together. Think about the students. As the student pursues their dreams, okay, you look at students today, you know what? It's not cool, air quote, it's not cool to be the smart one, okay? Because a lot of students are made fun of for being the smart kid, or they're considered nerdy because they do their work and they make great grades and they have a desire to succeed. So, you know, the things that gets lost, or the cost of that is, you know, you're working hard and you're doing whatever you can, but the things that get lost, you know, you may lose friendships. You may not have the respect of your peers like you want to. And I think those things are the things that we need to address to our students. Because when they go to college, you think about this, our kids are going to go to college, and things that get lost, they may have parents that don't support them. They may have parents that don't think that they need to pursue post-secondary education or whatever the case may be. They have parents that may think that they need to stay at home and to help them. And those are the things that get lost. But yet at the same time, what does it cost them? Explain the following. There are bridges you cross you didn't know you crossed until you crossed. You know, there's some times in life where we go through things and it's not until we have actually overcame those things that we didn't even know what we were dealing with or how we dealt with it. And so that happens to students as well. You know, sometimes it's just difficult for students to get through high school and graduate, to walk across stage with their diploma. And they realize then, when they actually walk across, that they crossed a major bridge and a major hurdle. We as educators and teachers, you have to be cognizant of the bridges that students cross. Because the same bridges that they cross in high school are going to be the same bridges, very similar, not exactly the same, but there's going to be very similar bridges that they have to cross in post-secondary education in order to help them be successful. The question I ask you is, are you helping those students cross those bridges? And the last one says, is happy truly what happens when all of your dreams come true? Because that's what she says. She says, happy, and I'm not going to sing for you because I'm not a singer, but she says, happy is what happens when all of your dreams come true. Is that what happy is being about, having all your dreams come true? Or is that something that's just a saying, or whatever the case may be? Do you think we as human beings can be happy? Do you think that our students live on from one dream to the next? How do you think they go about being happy? Better yet, I ask this, how are you happy? Do you have goals and dreams, and do you become happy when you achieve these? Well, for me, the answer is yes. If I set a goal, I set out a purpose, I write it down, I put it into action, and I achieve it, yes, I'm absolutely happy. And then we move on. You set a goal, you write it down, you set it out, you achieve it, yes. There's a sense of happiness there. And notice it didn't say anything about money, because money can't buy happiness. Now, I guess if you won the lottery and that was your dream, then maybe. But even within that, let's say you did win the lottery. Let's use that example. Let's say you did win the lottery. You were happy because that's what your dream was. Well, then guess what? You're going to have a way to spend that money. Are you not? And so in order to do that, you're going to develop some, hey, I want to do this. I want to buy this. Or I want to travel the world. Well, when you do that, hey, you're still living out your dream and you're still being happy. So even if it is on that scale, you're still living things out. Well, our students want to live out their dreams. Our students want to be happy. And not only that, we want to make our students' dreams come true. So I ask you, what are you doing to help your students' dreams come true? So let's talk about setting and achieving goals, because I think that's the next step that we need to hit. It says when we set goals, we have to be very specific about the goals we set. Okay, we can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to be a great teacher," or "Oh, I'm going to get my homework done as a student." No. Those are very non-specific goals, and when you have non-specific goals, that doesn't allow you to achieve anything. Okay, so if you're going to achieve a goal, you need to be specific, and it needs to be able to be measured. So this is how we're going to set goals. Write it down. Be specific. Write them in time frames. And what I mean by time frames, you put them between months, years, whatever the goal is. And we're going to talk about the different goals that they are. Write them in different areas of life, reflect on them, move them into action, reward yourself, and get back the benefits. And you want to tell you what's great about helping students set goals? Naviance. Naviance is a great tool that we now have, and it's going to be beneficial in helping students set goals. And not only is it going to be beneficial in students setting goals, but it's going to address them as their personal goals. It's going to address their professional goals. It's going to address their social goals. It's going to address all these goals that are going to help them be successful. And so again, Navient is going to be in play for that. So you can direct students towards that when you are setting goals with them. Okay, so write it down. And I talked about this in, I believe, one of the other webinars, but writing your goals down are so important. And as you write them down, you need to be detail-oriented. It is all about the detail. It's one thing to turn in your homework, but it's another thing to say, you know what, I'm going to turn in my homework by this date, and I'm going to get a B or higher. That is a specific goal. That is a goal that can be measured, because you can determine if you turned in your homework before the due date. And you can also, once you complete the homework, decide on if you got the grade that you have set forth to. So that is important. Think about students' post-secondary planning. It's one thing to say, well, I'm going to go to college. Whoop-de-doo. It's another thing to say, you know what, I'm going to attend a Houston Community College in the fall after graduation and major in auto mechanics. We have to get students to be specific in what they say, and so that when they're specific in what they say, they can be specific in what they do. And I just said that. Think in details about how things will be different once your goals are attained. That's so true. Because once you achieve your goals, if your goal is to get a associate's degree in auto mechanics, oh, your life is going to be different once that is obtained. So, what happens next? Okay, so we need to guide our students to see, not have a tunnel vision, but to have a broad spectrum to see where life is going to take us and how that's going to look as we go. As we help students set these goals, they need to be broken down into three main areas. We need to look at long-term goals, we need to look at mid-term goals, and we need to look at short-term goals. Okay, and here's going to be the difference. Well, your short-term goals, and I'm starting at the bottom, is the one goals that we can accomplish in a year or less. Okay, a year or less, short-term goals. Mid-term goals, accomplish 1 to 5 years. Okay, so we'll say short-term goals is for a student, they may want to score a certain score on their SATs, short-term goal. Mid-term goal, they may want to have graduated from college by a certain time, or if they even went to the military or whatever the case. And then a long-term goal, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 20 years? Where are they going? Where are they headed? And I think it's important to sit down with students to talk these goals out, because sometimes goals are maybe a mid-term goal should be a short-term goal, and a short-term goal should be a mid-term goal. And I think if the students understand the difference with these goals, they won't be confused on what to do. And if something doesn't work out, they will know that, hey, this goal is not going to happen in 1 year, or this goal needs to be a long-term goal as opposed to a mid-term goal. For example, a person wants to be a doctor. That cannot be a midterm goal. That's all I'm saying. So helping students see that is important. We talked about this, I just mentioned this, but as you set goals, think about the different areas of life. I think it's important to be a well-rounded person and a well-rounded student. So a student needs to look at his education, his career, financial life, family relationships, social life, spiritual life, level of health. Those are the different areas that you should think about in order to set your goals, because each one has a different phase and a different process. And not only that, each one may be dependent on something else. Of course, education, career, and financial, actually I kind of list them in some sort of order. For me, personally anyway, my education came first, because my education leads to my career leads to my financial life, and financial life, once you're stable, family relationships, social life, spiritual life, and level of health. So you can best help direct the students to obtain those different goals in different areas of life. And again, as I said, Navient, which we have, it allows you, or allows the students, to set an academic and personal social goals, okay? And it also allows them to complete career goals as well. So that is the tool for that. Now, after you set goals, this is what you need to think about. You need to reflect on these three things. You need to think about your feelings. Check it with your feelings. Do you feel passionate about it? So often we do things that we don't feel passionate about it. And if we do things we don't feel passionate about, we're not going to achieve them. So we're not going to achieve them. And if we don't achieve them, then we're going to honestly feel like a failure. So you need to get students to realize, what is it that drives them? What is the force that propels them to take action? Then check for alignment. Just like our tires and our wheels on our car, if they're not aligned, the car doesn't run correctly. Well, do your goals connect and align to help you meet your long-term goals? I've had students that come to my office, they go, well, Mr. Peters, I really want to be a nurse, but I want to go to community college my first 2 years and become a cosmetologist because I can get a certificate. Okay, that's great. That's wonderful that you want to do that. But, there's no connection between being a cosmetologist and becoming a nurse. And there's a distinct difference. And there's no there's that alignment difference that's there. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with becoming a cosmetologist and majoring in cosmetology, and there's nothing wrong with nursing. But if your ultimate goal is to become a nurse, you need to set yourself on the right path in order to ensure that that happens. And then check for obstacles. Okay, there's always going to be obstacles that come and get in your way. There's always going to be something that pops up. It's like the road trip that I was telling you about. Yes, you may have the map. Yes, you may have planned accordingly, but guess what? You may have a flat on the way, people. As you're going, that construction may be on the road, and you have to determine how to work your way around that. You have to determine how to find another a temporary route in order to still continue on your trip. Well, you know what students do? When students are going down their journey of life and journey of towards success, they sometimes encounter a roadblock, whatever that roadblock may be. But instead of keep pushing forward, instead of doing whatever they can, using their resources, they simply give up on their goal. So you look at students who are going to college. They're going to college, and so they may not be able to have the money, okay? Even though that's their goal. They may not necessarily have the money, or they may be lacking money, or there's something that is not there that's a missing piece of the puzzle. So instead of anticipating for these obstacles and looking for solutions, a lot of them don't even look for solutions. They just simply throw their hands up in the air and give up. I'll give you an example. I was working with the Summer Bridge program at Northbrook here this summer, and I had a student who had gone to HCC a few times to get registered for the fall semester, and as they got registered, what came up, long story short, when they filled out the application, it said that they were an international student. Well, they're not an international student. They are a student of Spring Branch ISD. And at the same time, HCC said that nothing could be done because, something could be done, but he had to prove that he had indeed been in Spring Branch ISD. Well, things kept going around, and turns out that there wasn't, that he needed something related to his parents, but his parents hadn't been on the job for a certain amount of time, so therefore the length of time that they were on the job didn't count, so therefore, bottom line is he couldn't go to start HCC for the fall because as an international student, it was X amount of money, and then the Pell Grants and whatnot didn't cover it. Whew, okay, hopefully you're still with me right there. Long story shorter, so he comes to us the next day and said, hey, I've been to HCC, this is what they said, this is what has happened, and this person had even stopped coming to the Bridge program because they felt that it was now pointless, and it was felt that it was wasted, that they had spent these times there, and then they wouldn't be able to go into the fall. So they just said, boop, boop, I'm giving up. Well, after talking to us, we found a way to see how we could rectify the situation, and that's what we did. Okay, we got it fixed. We got the things that HCC fixed. We got the Summer Bridge where their back end fixed. Everything was taken care of. But the student felt that there was no way out. The student felt that there was no options. And when they felt that when they feel that there's no options, and when they feel there's no other way, they give up. We cannot afford. You as teachers, we as educators cannot afford to allow students to give up on those goals. And when you're a first generation college student, when you're a student that don't know the journey, and you're a student that don't have the GPS or the roadmap, we have to do a little bit more, and we have to go above and beyond to make sure that students are going to overcome the obstacles that they have. Okay, so next we have to put this into action. And there's everything we do is all about action. Okay? In order to do this, don't do the following. So let's say the student says, you know what, my goal is to be an auto mechanic. However, I'm going to set the first year out and I'm just going to work and make money. Survey says, decrease the gap between stating a goal and starting to achieve it. That is the bottom line. If you say you're going to do something, do not allow room to not do it. Just get in there, can do, and get it done. If you say that you're going to start going to school to achieve your master's as a teacher, and 2 falls from now, what's wrong with this fall? Because let me tell you, anytime we say that we're going to wait to do something, we keep putting it off. And time is not on our side. Share your goals with people who assist you to achieve them. I think this is important, and this is where you come in as well. Everything you do is not just about your core subject, but you play a vital part in students' overall success. Yes, they have parents, but you, as a teacher, that's where you come in. So help them achieve their goals. Encourage them to be around and hang around people that's going to help them help them to meet their goals. There's nothing worse than being around people while you're trying to be successful and trying to do certain things, and everybody else is okay with something else or something different. You feel alone. You feel like there's no one to turn to, and then you feel like the odd one in the bunch. Encourage your students to seek the ones who are who have goals that are similar to them, because when you have goals that are similar to other people's, together you can be successful. And the last thing about putting something in action is you don't talk about it, you simply be about it. Here's the reward system. Okay, reward yourself for achieving your goals. It could be something you designed for yourself. Okay, but you have to reward yourself, whatever it may be. You decided on it, you acted upon it, and now you achieved it. Congratulations. And then savor the feeling. You know, success breeds success because it feels good. And once you're successful at something, regardless of what it is, once you have become successful at it, then you want to be successful at something else. You keep pushing and moving forward. And so once students, it's contagious. So once students get the first hint or the first taste of success, okay, so let's say they graduated high school, and let's say they're the first they're the first kid, they're the first person in their family to graduate high school. That's the smell of success. So then they feel that they can achieve to go to college. Let's say they're working on their associate's degree. Bam, they're working on an associate's degree. They get it. They get it in 2 years. That's success right there. So high school, smelling success. Community college, smelling success. And then that student is determined to go on to get their bachelor's degree. Success. So they know what success feels like, and now they're definitely determined to make it happen because they know that they can achieve it. How are you helping students to savor the feeling of success in their class? Do you celebrate success in your class? That's something to think about. You know, all too often, as we talk about success, we have to talk about the opposite of success, because the opposite of success can also play a major part. Okay? And that thing is, sometimes we will lose hope. Sometimes we just don't have that support behind us in order to push us to propel, or go ahead to push us to help us meet our goals. And so for students that may lose hope, this is the advice that you can tell them, okay? It's about getting what you want in the future and enjoying every step along the way. And that's the important thing. Everything is a stepping stone to the next level. Everything that you do is one step closer to meeting your goals. And you don't look at it as something that gets in your way. You look at it as something that's going to help you. And I think it's important for students to realize that there is a journey, that it's not an overnight, that you just can't get from A to Z without going through the whole alphabet. And once they do that, and once you let them know that, you know what, there may be some things that are going to happen along the way that you necessarily may not enjoy, but have fun anyway. Just enjoy. Carpe diem, seize the day, seize the moment, or in the kids' words, you can say YOLO, because you only live, never mind. You get the point, okay? And then the other thing that I like is says post visible reminders of the benefits you'll gain. So let's say a student is in your class, in your high school class or middle school class, and they're not doing too well, and they kind of have given up. Well, what is their goal? Okay, so if their goal is, we'll say, back in my day, anyway, my parents would give me money for certain grades I made. Okay, that's definitely a motivator to have good grades. So maybe the student may want a specific something. He wants to buy a Nintendo game or whatever the case that he wants to buy with his money if he makes certain grades. So having that visual of that video game there for him or her would be a motivator. Or if a student's a senior and they need to get into a certain school, but they are not the best at their SATs or ACTs, but they're studying to work on that, maybe having even a shirt or a pendant or just a little symbol of their school would also motivate them. So it's little things like that that can help remove that of losing hope. Okay, we're going to have another exercise. And this is what I want you to think. And this would be a good exercise to work with your students as well. It says, on a large sheet of paper, draw a horizontal line. This line will represent your lifetime. Now add key events in your life to this line in chronological order. Write down key events you would like to see occur. Choose events that align with your core values. Extend your lifeline 50 years beyond the year when you reach 50. So, you don't have to necessarily have a large sheet of paper for this, but if you have butcher paper and you want to go all the way out, actually, if you were working with the students, I would recommend having butcher paper so that they can create their own timeline for them. And so what you would need to do is, and basically you're looking at the time you were born to if you live to be 100. And you're going to plan major events in your life. Of course, when you're born, of course, we're going to say you die at 100. So you're born, you die. And then think about what you want to be. Think about where you want to be. And then kind of plot that out. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to complete your lifeline. And even as a teacher, think about where you are now. Think about how that looks. Think about even after you retire. What is it? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to write a novel? Do you want to discover, if you're a science teacher, do you want to go work in research? I'll give you a few seconds to do that. And when you're ready to start, press pause on the video. On this next exercise, I call it Get Real with Goals exercise. And basically, this is what I encourage students to do. Create one long-term goal, one mid-term goal, and one short-term goal. Hopefully you can remember that your long-term goal and the years they are. The mid-term goal is 1 to 5, and the short-term goal is from now to 1 year. So, remember to set those goals in more than one area in your life. And you should encourage the students, if they haven't done so already, to include these goals into Navians. So I'll give you a few seconds for yourself to create these goals. And once you have created these goals, you can go ahead and move on to the next exercise. Go ahead and press pause now. The next exercise is the bigger picture exercise. This exercise will give you an opportunity to step back from the details of your daily schedule and get a bigger picture of your life. The more difficult it is for you to plan beyond the current day or week, the greater the benefit of this exercise. So this is what you're going to do. Plan the next month of your life. Block out specific times for upcoming events such as due dates, work, and other important dates. And at this point, when you do this exercise, basically, you're going to give the student a calendar. Okay? You're going to give them just a monthly calendar and let them plan out their month. Encourage them to put when they work, when assignments are due, when they have extracurricular activities, whatever the case may be. When I was at Angelina College and was working there, I co-taught a master students or a student development class. And so one thing that we require for all our students to do is to keep a planner. I cannot stress to students about keeping a planner, whether it's a paper planner or it's they're on their phones, because that's what they do, but put down those dates so that they can have them. And so the goal of this is so that students can see exactly where their time is spent and doing what they're doing, and also so that they'll achieve success. So you go ahead, kind of sketch out a monthly calendar, and you reflect upon your time to see where it is. When you're ready to do this, please press pause. This next scene, the video, after we have talked all this about planning and goals and time management and how it looks, there's one thing that gets in the way of all of that that needs to be addressed, that we cannot continue talking without it. And this is this little thing called procrastination. Let's kick it off with a procrastination YouTube video. Procrastination, the musical.
See, I have to write this essay that the teacher gave last week, and it's due tomorrow morning, 20 pages all in Greek. Now, but first I'll check my Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter, call my mom, then just one more page on iwastesomuchtime.com. I'm procrastinating, all day I sit here waiting for just the perfect moment to begin.
We're procrastinating.
Why would we could be gaming? Agreed.
Procrastination for the win.
Start this diet cause my prom's a week away, so I'm only eating veggies and I'm starting that today. But I'm getting really hungry and those cookies look sublime. Fine, I'll have just 1 or 2 or 10, why not, it's not a crime. We're procrastinating, no better way than eating,
Cause nothing else could possibly compare.
I'm procrastinating. It's really fascinating.
I know there's work to do but I don't care.
Oh yeah, it's on.
I should probably do my laundry,
I should probably feed the cat.
but right now we're playing Halo.
Solo.
Headshot.
You take that.
You should probably call a doctor.
Never mind, it's just a scratch.
But your arm's gone.
It's a flesh wound, now come on, let's play some catch.
I have organized my desktop now, I'm all set up to work. Wait, that picture's kind of crooked and it's driving me berserk. Now I might as well just color my pencils one by one, and my papers and my files, I can't work until it's done.
We're procrastinating.
All day I sit here waiting for just the perfect moment to begin.
We're procrastinating.
You're procrastinating right now.
You're procrastinating. Why are you still here watching? I'm sure that you got things to long ago. You're procrastinating. Please leave a thumbs up rating. Go do your work tomorrow.
Hey guys, we're the AV Bike Brothers, and thanks for watching our video. Question of the day: what is your preferred method of procrastination? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe for more weekly videos, and if you like this song, you can download it, link down below. Thanks for watching, my name is VJ. I'm Antonius. We are the AV Bike Brothers. We'll see you soon. Here comes
The question I ask is, stop procrastinating. Okay, I'm done. So, you're a procrastinator, are you? Are you the person that wait last minute? Do you work best under pressure, you feel? Or do you just get it done? So, here is, how do you know if you're procrastinating? Well, is it keeping you from getting what you want? If you want an A in the class and you're always turning your work, doing it last minute, then procrastination is your problem, okay? If you are a student and you want to go to college and your desire is to get into UT or to Texas A&M and you're a procrastinator, well, you should know that they have deadlines, and if you don't meet their deadlines, then you're not going to get in. I think students need to be explain things like this, because although in school we allow for students to have multiple deadlines, colleges do not allow for students to have multiple deadlines. And so because they've gone their whole life with deadlines, with, as I call them, rolling deadlines, college, they're disappointed when they enter college because that doesn't exist. And so then there's the alignment of college doesn't match high school, but for things like that, it's because we allow them to get away with so many things. When in college, the deadline is the deadline, it's the deadline. And in high school, the deadline is not the deadline of the non-deadline of the main deadline. Okay? So how and what do you procrastinate about? You have to think about that. Well, you need to trick yourself. Action generates motivation. You need to use a planner. We just talked about that. And create goals that excite you. Again, I mentioned that when you're passionate about something, then and only then will you not procrastinate. Just get it done. Kind of like Nike, just do it. Well, collect. This is what you need to do. This is an exercise. the get it done exercise. I want you to think of every unfinished project, incomplete task, or whatever is nagging you, put it in a pile. Okay? And then as you look at this pile, I want you to think, do you really need to do something about it? It says if you can act, it's not action. If you can act on this item in 2 minutes or less, do it now. Okay, so you think of everything you have your to-do list. If you can do it within 2 minutes, do it now. Take care of it. Go. Think about students the same way when they feel overwhelmed. If you're dealing with an item that can best be handled by someone else, delegate it to that person. Okay, a lot of times we like to take on more than we can chew, but if someone else can do it, not your homework of course, but if someone else, let them help you with it or ask them to do it. Okay, for a kid that may be, they have all this stuff to do, and yet they have to pick up their brother from middle school. But yet at the same time, they may also have let's say if they're a junior, they may have a brother that's in the 12th grade. So that means asking their brother in the 12th grade, hey, can you go pick up my sister, or whatever the case may be, or our sister. If you're dealing with an item that will take more than 2 minutes for you to do, write a reminder to do it later. And this process just simply helps you with your procrastination process, and it helps you to empty your plate. Okay? So then you think about this. As you just get it done, think about these three basic categories: your calendar, your projects, and your to-do list. Okay? So your calendars are going to be the ones that you have to have a specific date and time. Most of us have, if we look at meetings and things, we have a calendar. Projects, well, projects are those big things that we're working on in class. You have assigned to your student, and then your to-do list or your item by physical locations. Maybe you have to go to the store to do this. Maybe you have to go to the library to do that. And if students are able to see these things in this light, as opposed to one whole bunch of stuff that's just on their plate, they'll be able to tackle things better. And when they're able to tackle things better, then they're one step closer towards meeting their goals. Okay? And then you need to review. Every week, every Monday, whatever it is, review these things, move things to different piles, okay? And decide on what must be done next. And once you review it, again, do it. Okay? And that, ladies and gentlemen, comes to the end of this webinar where we have looked at, I know we have talked about a lot, but goal setting is the most important thing for students out there. Naviance, of course, is our main vehicle for goal setting and post-secondary success. So that's going to be the thing that propels us to the next level. So here's your dimmer check, which is at the end of all the webinars. There will be an assessment for you to think about, because these are the things that are most important for you to be able to help students. Question 1. Why is time an unusual commodity? 2. What are the 3 main ideas of time management? 3. What are the 3 time frames for setting goals? 4. Why should you set goals for different areas of your life? Give an example of 4 areas. I know that you will make an A. And if you don't remember those answers, you can always watch the webinar again. With that said, this is Reginald G. Peters, College Transition Facilitator for Spring Branch ISD. If you have any questions or anything, please email me at reginald.peters@springbrancisd.com. Comments are welcome, and I will see you at the next webinar. Thank you.